Here we go. So down here in Centennial Hall for 9:15 service, acolytes get to primarily do two things. The first thing acolytes help with is the offering. So after the passing of the peace, where everybody gets up, wanders around, and says hello to each other, shakes hands, and passes the peace of Christ with one another, the ushers will find these baskets back on the soundboard. So if you look back over there, you'll see the railing. They sit on the edge where the hand sanitizers are right now. The ushers will find those baskets, come and pass them around the room. They should hit every row, they're supposed to, but we're still learning, we're getting back into the rhythm of doing it all. After the ushers have passed the plates around all the space, they're gonna meet back in the middle by where the candles are, and they're gonna look around and try to figure out what do we do with these baskets full of money. What they need to do is bring them up to the altar. So your job is during the end of the passing of the peace, sneak up to one of the front rows on one side or the other, and sit down in one of these end chairs and watch for the ushers to gather in the middle with the row of baskets. When they do that, you just come stand in the middle, and they will bring them to you, you take them, you bring them up, and you place them on the altar. I often place them right here. Then you go back and sit down and get ready for communion. The second thing acolytes get to do down here in Centennial Hall is help with communion. So after the words of institution, after Pastor Bauer, myself, or whatever pastor's here with us that day prays, all the communion assistants line up behind the altar. You just come from wherever you are and join the line. We will serve everybody. After we're done serving, we'll give two people trays of juice and wine. They're gonna come down and stand kind of near these railing pieces. So they're gonna be down over here, passing out juice and wine. Your job is to hang out up here on one of these steps, and when they run out, just grab a full tray off the altar, swap it with your empty tray, put the empty tray back on the altar. There's often also a stack of bread. If one of the pastors who's distributing bread runs out, you just simply take a loaf of bread, bring it down to us, give it to us, and you're done. A good question is, what happens if we run out of bread and wine or juice? Don't freak out. All you do is you walk out the door over there. Don't run, because if you run to the door, you freak people out. Walk over to the door, open the doors, head upstairs to the sacristy. There is extras on the counter upstairs. Grab some, bring it down, and away we go. And that is what you need to do as an acolyte down here. In the rare instance you need to light a candle on fire, there will be a torch behind the wall back over there. Go get it, we'll light it. You can go light the baptism candle. If we have candles on the altar, you can light those as well. But that's about all you need to do down here for acolyting at the 9:15 service. If you're acolyting for the 8 or the 10:45 service, the first thing you need to do is come to the sacristy, which is this room right here, across from the choir room, down the hallway from the entrance to the sanctuary. So come on in. As you come into the sacristy, there's a couple things you need to know where they are. Robes, which is the first thing you should do, are inside this closet here. There's a latch up here to open. To get in, to find the size robe you need, just consult this handy dandy height chart here. Find the letters that work for you. So let's look at this one here. Many of the robes have their letters written on the name tag here. Some of them do, some of them don't. The ones that don't, if you fold this flap down, have their letters written right there, which correspond to this piece of paper to tell you how tall the robe will fit. You don't want the robe so long that you're going to trip on it when you're walking around. Nobody wants that. So you find the robe you need and you put it on. To put on these robes, it's not terribly difficult, just a little bit of a technique is involved. Each robe has 3 buttons. So when you put the robe on, first you bring the right side button up underneath the robe, over under your shoulder, and clip into it. It's going to be back up over in here someplace. It's really hard to turn your head that far to see it. You got to feel. If you need a hand, let me know. So that one goes underneath the flap. Then the other 2 buttons come over here on this shoulder. They go over the flap, and they clip in just fine. And then you would have your robe on like this. Many of these robes have 2 strings on them. This one apparently doesn't. But some of them have strings down here you can tie together to make sure your robe doesn't flap a little bit in the breeze. It's no big deal if it does. It's just a personal preference thing. So that's how you put your robe on. In this room, in the rare instance that we run out of communion trays, so wine and juice on a communion tray, I just want to show you where things are so you can help get things put together. So down here underneath the counter are where empty trays are. So if you just take one of these trays out, you'll see a bunch of cups with nothing in them. To put something in them, you need to grab one of these filler things. There's probably an official name for them. I don't know what it is. You pour your liquid into here, you push the button and it comes out the bottom. When you let go of the button, it stops. So you'd fill, and you want to fill up until about where the tray meets the middle of the glass. So as you're filling, you'll see a little line. If you get near the line, you're in the perfect place. Where the liquid is, open bottles of juice and wine are right here in this refrigerator. So in here, you'll find juice and wine. If there's not an open bottle of juice and wine in there and we need more, inside the cabinet with the robes, there are bottles of juice and a case of wine. If there's not juice and wine in there, something terrible has happened, let me know and we'll make sure it gets ordered. If we get low, let me know and we'll make sure it gets ordered. So once you've got your robe on, you pick your torch out, and then you're gonna head into the next room and prepare to light things on fire. So before the service, you want to come in here into this room off of the edge of the sanctuary. Check in with Pastor Bob, myself, about what's going on at that service. If there is a baptism or a reason to light the Christ candle, we'll tell you that happens on some Sundays. Then what you do is you simply wait. And you wait until the congregation starts singing the first song. So there's going to be some liturgy where we'll talk about confession, we'll talk about forgiveness and how we come near to God. And then we're going to hear some beautiful music. When the beautiful music starts, that's when you light your torch. Now, these torches are filled with oil. Please don't tip them upside down. They will run out of oil. Try to keep them upright the whole time. We have a lighter here. We have matches here. If you need a hand lighting something, let me know. When it's your turn to light stuff, you light your torch and you hold it like so, right or left-handed, doesn't matter which way you have it. And as you walk out, we're going to walk out this door towards the altar while the music is playing like a batter coming to a bat in Major League Baseball, because they're playing your song. So out we come. Now as we walk, if there's one of you, you're going to light all of the candles on the altar. If there's two of you, you're going to pick who's going to do which side. If there's three of you, two of you will do a candelabra each, and the third one will do the Christ candle. Usually we reserve three of you or more on big festival Sundays like Christmas, Easter, that kind of stuff. So when you come to the center of the altar, remember to reverence the altar, so you bow. You come up to the altar, and when lighting candles, I suggest lighting outside, back, inside, front, and that way. Now these candles are also filled with oil, so you just need to briefly touch them with the flame. They should kick off. When you're moving your torch around, think of your front hand as what gives you height, and your back hand is what gives you your angle. Okay? Think of it like a long lever like that. As you light your candles, if your torch goes out, don't freak out. Simply light your torch off a lit candle. If you have a partner at the service, light your torch off their torch, and it'll work just fine. That's what you can do for that. Now to put out the candles, very simple. So you light both sides. To put them out, I recommend you do them just in the same order you lit them in. So you put out this candle here, just slowly hold it over until you see a little bit of smoke come off the bottom. Pull it off and the candle's out. I recommend front so you don't go past a lit candle and possibly singe your arm. No one wants that. And after you put out the candles, that's how you put them out. After they're lit, come through, reverence the altar, and place your torch over there on the holders. You put out the candles during the last song. So during the last song, we'll hear music playing, you stand up from wherever you are, you come to the altar, you bow, you go put out the candles, you come back, you bow, head on back, put your torch away, take your robe off, and you're done for the day. Now we're going to talk about a couple special things we do up here on Festival Sundays and how we do the offering. The offering here in the sanctuary, much the same process as you do downstairs in Centennial Hall. After the passing of the peace, you come over here to these beautiful silver plates. You pick up the 4 small ones. You don't need to pick up the big one. After you pick them up, you walk over here to the middle, and there's a handy dandy little spot. This square right here in the middle is a good landmark to stand on. You stand here, you hold the 4 plates in your hands. The ushers will come forward and take the plates, pass them around all the pews. After they've taken the plates, just sit down. It's okay, you don't need to stand here for the whole offering. Just like downstairs, when the ushers are done passing around to all the rows, they're gonna gather in the back, middle of the aisle. So I recommend whoever's doing the offering, sit on the end and just watch. When they get to the back middle with all the plates stacked on top of each other, you usually put everything at the top plate, they're gonna stand in the back middle. When they do that, you just come back up, you stand on your square, and they will walk forward and give you all the offering plates. Then you take them and bring them to the altar. Remember, as you enter the uppermost altar, slight aisle reference. And I often put the offering plates right over here on the right side of the altar. That way they're kind of out of the way for communion. So that's how we take care of the offering upstairs. Now we got to talk about communion. During communion, which will happen after the offering, you'll be seated down in your area. Pastor Bob, myself, whoever is presiding over the table that day, will invite people to come forward. When they do that, you are invited to come forward. You kneel at the railing over here with all the rest of the servants, and we will serve you. At the 8 o'clock service, we have everyone commune at the altar here, so then you're done. You just go back and sit down. At the 10:45 service, we will hand you extra trays, just like downstairs in Centennial Hall. If you have extra trays of wine and juice, you stand often on this second top step here. There's going to be someone just in front of you passing out juice and wine. When they run out, they're going to look around like a panicked person. You're going to say, I have that for you. You walk down, take their empty, give them a full one, bring the empty back up, and place it on the altar. Don't put it on top of the full trays, because then you have to go through it to get to the other full trays. Same thing with bread. Pastor Bob, myself, whatever pastors are serving that day are going to be passing out bread. When we run out, if there's 3 of you, wine and juice on one side, wine and juice on the other side, the person with bread stands in the middle. You just bring the bread down, you take it, and bring it back up. That's all you got to do for communion. At the end, we put everything back on the altar. Pastors will put it where it needs to be. You head on back to your seats, and you're good to go. So now let's talk about the most complicated things, which are gospel processions and processions for Easter and Christmas. Ready for processionals. These happen on festival Sundays like Easter, Christmas, Reformation Day, all those big days. We do a big processional up here in the sanctuary. So we need to find the things for the processional. The first thing we need to find is the cross, which lives right here behind this pew on these hooks. It was recently fixed for us. We're very thankful for that. To get it off, just lift it up, it comes out, and you're good to go. When carrying the cross, you don't want to have the cross touch the ground. People get pretty upset about that. So take it and hold it with 2 strong hands, like you're boxing out with your elbows. Hold it like here, so you're not going to kick the bottom of it while you're walking. Then you come over to the center aisle and prepare for the procession. In the procession, the cross always goes first. So you will just stand here and wait for whoever is starting the service off to tell you to go. If you are leading the Bible in the procession, you will go get the Bible from up on the lectern. It's this big, thick Bible here, and you're going to carry it. When carrying the Bible, you want to hold it away from your body a little bit with strong arms at about a 90-degree angle so you can see over the top of it. If you can't see over the top of it, you're going to walk into things, and nobody wants that. So hold it good and strong. So when we do a processional, you take the cross goes first, and the cross bearer is going to walk down the center aisle and stand in the middle while the rest of the procession is happening. There's a little gold disc in the middle of the steps there. Stand on that, it's my favorite landmark. As they go down, the person with the Bible walks down and places it up on the lectern, open it to a random page. You're done. The person with the cross stands up there, and until the procession is over, and we'll go show you exactly how to put it in. You stand with the cross here on the gold circle. Pastors come down, choir comes down, all sorts of people come down. There's lots of singing. Everyone is done. It is time for you to put the cross where it goes. So you walk over here to this tile. Now on this tile there's a slit, and the cross goes into it. You need to lean it forward a little bit for it to go in, otherwise it won't. If you try to put it in straight down, it's not going to want to go right away. When you put it in, lean it forward, and feel it hit. Now it's not going anywhere. To take it out, I recommend putting your foot on the tile, hold it, and just kind of slowly pull it up. When it's time for a gospel procession, so on Easter, we're gonna go and read the scriptures for the middle of the people. When it's that time, the whole congregation stands up, you come from where you're seated, the person bearing the cross grabs the cross, heads down the aisle. The person grabbing the Bible does the same thing. I'll show you the cross portion, because you're the most important one that we're talking what to do with the Bible, and what we do when we're done. So the person with the cross picks up the cross, comes to the middle, and they come down around the font and the candle. Often I recommend, if you have the Bible, you come down this side. If you have the cross, go the other way, so you're just not crossing over the stuff. You're not going to bang into things. As you walk down with the cross, you come down the middle of the aisle, really slow, dignified seat. And you're going to want to stop right about where these two pillars are, because that's right about the middle of the congregation. Take about a step back from them. If you have the cross, you stand and you stop there. Also know that wherever you stop, that's where everybody else gets to stop, because the cross is what tells us where we need to be. After the cross is stopped, the person carrying the Bible is to become a human bookstand. So they will come walking down the aisle with the Bible, and they will come down, and they walk down the aisle like so. When they get to the cross, they're going to stop, they're going to open the book and place it on themselves like this, and they're going to turn around for the pastor to read the scriptures. The pastor's going to read and read and read and read and read, and hopefully not spit in your face, because sometimes people shoot spit out of their mouth when they're talking. When the pastor's done reading, they're going to close the Bible, they're going to hand it to you. You hold it with the words out, step back to the pew. The pastor will step back to the pew as well. Once the Bible and the pastor have both done that, the person carrying the cross will walk through and put everything back where you found it. Does that make sense, friends? So the cross goes back to this side, the Bible comes back to that side, and you're done. At the end of the service, you just repeat what we just did, except you go all the way out. So at the end of the service, the cross leads its way out, the Bible follows after it, the pastors come after it, the choir come after it, everybody else that comes after it comes after it. And I think that is all the things we need to learn how to do if you're an acolyte up here at 1045. To answer some questions, remember the first two important rules of acolyting. The first most important rule is don't let yourself on fire. Up here, there is very little that is flammable. You can light the cushions on fire, you can light the thing over the altar on fire, but all the rest of it is stone. Fire's not going anywhere. If you drop something, you drop something. It's going to be okay. First rule, don't let yourself on fire. Second rule, don't let your partners on fire. We can't have that. We just don't need that. Otherwise, if we run out of stuff, if we run out of bread, we run out of wine, we run out of something we need for the service, head back into the sacristy. It's going to be back there. You're invited to sit in the front pew over here by the pulpit, follow along in the service, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Look forward to having you helping us out.